trimester 4, where we will be completing Bhagavad Gita chapter number 12. Let's begin with Mangalacharan prayers.
And so I hope now we are audible and visible, and the slides, it is echoing. Okay, is the echo still there? Or is it better now?
Hare Krishna.
Okay, even now it is echoing.
Okay, so let's chant Mangalacharan. Hopefully by the end of it, it'll get
Okay,
fixed.
now all right. Okay, thank you.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamam Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishram. Hare Krishna. So here coming up is the quiz Gita Rewind. We are sharing the poll on the Zoom window. We request you all to read the questions carefully and mark the correct answer. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hopefully we are audible again and there is no problem with the audio.
Question number 1. Krishna's final verdict is: worship the universal form, pure devotees are most perfect, worshipping the impersonal form is most perfect. Actually, no, the final verdict is pure devotees are most perfect. B is the correct answer.
Question 2. Yuktatama, the most perfect in yoga are the ones. And the correct answer is all of the above.
Question 3. Path of impersonalist is troublesome and difficult. B is the right answer.
Bhakti yoga is direct and establishes active relationship with Krishna. Option B is the right answer.
In Bhagwan realization, the correct answer is all of the above.
Question 6. Krishna acts as the swift deliverer for those who are devoted unto Krishna without deviation. Quite a natural answer actually compared to other options.
Next question. What happens by purification of senses? So by purification of senses, when one's senses are purified, one's dormant love for Krishna is revived.
So option B is the right answer. Question 8. Chanting Hare Krishna, cooking for deities and honoring prasadam are spiritual activities, and these activities purify our senses. So the option A is the right answer.
So moving ahead in chapter 12, as we have already discussed, that this is a short and pretty straightforward chapter which has 3 sections. So the first section we saw that because Arjun just noticed the universal form, and we saw that in 11th chapter what was Arjuna's reaction when he sees the universal form and how he was full of awe and reverence. In between, he was very perturbed also, and then finally he requests to withdraw the universal form, and he was very happy with the two-handed form of Krishna because he could see that through this form all the other forms can be seen. Through this form all the other aspects can be perceived, and this contains everything, and this is the sweetest. So Arjun was convinced of that, but then he, for the benefit of everybody else and just to reestablish or get validation for his point, he asked this question at the beginning of this chapter, that which is better, personalist or impersonalist. And we saw that how Krishna emphasizes that for those who are impersonalist, klesho adhikataras tesham, it is very difficult to make progress on that path for those who are embodied. And then he says that for those who follow the path of Ananya Bhakti, he himself swiftly delivers them. So that is how he establishes the fact that the personalists are the best, the pure devotees are the best. So that he does in the first section. And then we saw the second section, the progressive stages of bhakti.
So here Krishna says that he talks about the best, and then if one is not able to do the best, then next best, then next best. Like that he moves from the best to lower stages. And so in the 8th verse, Krishna says that fix your mind upon me and engage all your intelligence in me. So this is 2 things that Krishna says in the 8th verse, which means that our mind should be fixed on the beautiful personal form of the Lord. His sweet smiling face, which has lotus-like eyes. His hair are curly with bluish tinge. He has shark-shaped earrings, and the nose is like the sesame flower, and the lips are red like the bimba fruit, and he's having a flower garland, and he has a lightning and yellow dhoti, which is shimmering like a lightning, and very, very beautiful form of the Lord. His bodily color is like the fresh rain cloud. So Krishna says that fix your mind upon me. And then he says that you engage your intelligence in me. So of course we have the scriptures, we have Vedas. Among the Vedas we have the essence of Vedas in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So he says that you should study these scriptures and then contemplate, do mananam and think about these scriptures and what I have spoken in the scriptures and what my devotees have spoken, what are the principles being given there. So you should engage your intelligence in that. So that's Krishna says, if you live like this, then you're actually living in me. Without a doubt, you will come to me.
Actually, at this point, I'm reminded of the incident from Srimad Bhagavatam when Krishna actually sends Uddhava to Vrindavan. So Krishna has left Vrindavan and he sends Uddhav with a sandesh, with a message for all the Brajvasis. So actually, Krishna's hidden purpose was to teach Uddhav, to make him aware of what is Krishna Prem. So that's what these Brajvasis carries in their heart. The greatness and the sweetness of their love. So to experience that, he has sent Uddhava, but he tells Uddhava that you go as my messenger because they would be waiting for me and they would be very miserable in my absence. So you go and meet them. So when Uddhav reaches there, finally he gets to meet the gopis. And when he meets the gopis and he tells them that Krishna has sent a message for all of you. Krishna has sent a message that how I can never be separated from you. I'm always with you. I'm not physically present, but in my pastimes, in the memories, I'm always present with you. So you just absorb yourself in my thought. Think of me. Just fix your mind upon me. When gopis hear this instruction or this message of Krishna from Uddhava, they get little angry and upset. And they say that what is this third class instruction what you are giving us? And Uddhav was like, what did I do? What's wrong? I'm just asking you to fix your mind on Krishna. So the gopis reply, even if we want, we are not able to take out our mind, Krishna from our mind. And that is our problem, that we don't want to think of Krishna and we are forced to think of Krishna and we are not able to think of anything else but Krishna. And here you are coming as Krishna's messenger and giving the message that fix your mind upon me. So actually that level is Ananya Bhakti. That is the level which Krishna is talking about in verse number 8 of chapter 12, where he says that fix your mind, your intelligence on me, and this way you will always live with me without a doubt.
And of course, this level is very elevated, very exalted, and it is actually difficult for us in our current situation. So Krishna says, okay, if you're not able to do that, if you're not able to fix your mind runs away everywhere and anywhere. And we experience that when we are chanting morning japa, we sit and every day we remind ourselves, okay, we should listen to the holy names. And still in between we catch our mind, that we are not mindful, we are not attentive to what we are chanting, we are not hearing to the holy names. So that is there. So Krishna then says in the next verse, in the 9th verse, that okay, no problem, then you should practice sadhana bhakti. So then you should practice the activities of bhakti yoga. And he says that even if you are not able to do that, then later he says, if you may have some social compulsions or other things, at least be favorable to Krishna consciousness movement, be favorable to the devotees, and you assist them. You work in a way that you are able to assist this Krishna conscious movement. So like that, Krishna gives various options to us. And then he says, even if you're not able to do that, then he says, okay, do at least Nishkam Karma Yoga. So we see that how Nishkam Karma Yoga is actually the bottommost rung, but Bhakti is beyond that.
Yeah, so when Krishna says Nishkam Karma Yoga, I hope it is very clear to us. He is there talking about basically doing pious activities. Do pious activities. Now, we in current time, we think that if somebody is doing piety, if somebody is constructing hospitals, if somebody is feeding the poor, if somebody is giving a lot of charity, so that person is the highest. Whereas, according to Krishna, when he keeps such people on the ladder, so such pious people come at the lowest. Because they are doing all these things, but they are not worshipping Krishna. For them, Krishna does not exist. So Krishna levels, that the topmost are those who are completely absorbed in him. The second one are those who are following at least the rules and regulations so that the senses get purified and they become absorbed in him. The third one was at least working for Krishna, favorable to Krishna's cause, and if nothing, then at least do the pious activities.
Pious activities, actually not even pious activities. Do the pious activities and don't be attached to the result of that piety. So that
itself is difficult.
That itself is very rare in these days.
So now getting into the next section, the final section of chapter 12. So as we understand that these middle 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita are the most important chapters. These are the crest jewel, the most valuable chapter. And interestingly, if we see in 7th chapter, Krishna talks about Bhakti Yoga. In 8th chapter, Krishna again talks about how can a person remember Krishna at the time of death. In 9th chapter, the last verse of the 9th chapter, where it is right in the center of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna places that verse, Man manabhav mad bhakto, that become my devotee, offer obeisances to me. So like that, he tells in the end of the 9th chapter. In 10th chapter, he describes his opulence, and then towards the end, he says that whatever you see, it is just from a spark of my splendor. So he tells that how he is sweet and how he is great in chapter 10, and he tells that perform bhakti yoga. In chapter 11, he shows this universal form, and again towards the end of chapter 11, again he talks about bhakti yoga. The whole 12th chapter is bhakti yoga. In the beginning itself, he has established that bhakti yoga is supreme. Now in these final verses, verse number 13 to 20, Krishna is going to talk about the qualities of a person who's performing this process of bhakti yoga, because such people are very, very dear to Krishna. So now Krishna is going to specifically talk about certain qualities, and we must try to work in a manner that we exhibit those qualities. So let's try and understand what those qualities are.
And these qualities, starting from verse number 13 all the way till verse number 20, are the qualities of Ananya Bhakta, or the devotee who is situated on the highest platform. Because if you see the 14th last line of the 14th verse, yo mad bhakta same priya. So Krishna is telling that a devotee possessing these qualities very, very dear to me. So Krishna is explaining about his Ananya Bhakta, and all these qualities actually arise from Krishna talks about sense control in the 12th verse. In the 12th verse, there's a word called Shanti, which means that the person becomes peaceful and his senses do not trouble him. His senses are under his control, and that happens because he's practicing devotional service. So by practice devotional service, senses come under control, and then one begins to manifest as his devotion increases and he becomes a wonderful devotee. Then these qualities, they arise from his devotion, from bhakti. So when we'll go through these qualities today, these are not material qualities. They are not the qualities of mode of goodness. These are spiritual transcendental qualities which arise from devotion to Krishna.
Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitrah karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankarah samdukha sukha kshami santushtah satatam yogi yatatma dridha nishchayaha mayarpita mano buddhir yo mad bhaktah same priyaha. So in these two verses, Krishna is actually describing 11 qualities. And before we go into the interpretation or the meaning of these 11 qualities, we have this reflective exercise coming up for all of you. So we want you to take this exercise, and afterwards we will be discussing, because it is very closely connected to the qualities what Krishna is describing. This is very simple true and false activity, and what you have to do is just choose one, don't think so much, and please be honest.
So whatever first comes to your mind, mark that answer.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we have answered the poll, and we will keep it on the sharing mode, and we will go to the next slide. We'll discuss it. Let's see what is the translation. One who's not envious, but a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who's equal in both happiness and distress, who's tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. So now we see that there are 11 qualities which are of pure devotee. So actually it is important because these qualities are of pure devotee. If we have these qualities but we are not a devotee, then such a person is not dear to Krishna. So in order to become dear to Krishna, not only you need to have these qualities, I mean, you become a devotee and you get these qualities. So let's see what it means. The first one.
I'll go to the back slide.
The next slide. So the first one, it says adveshta or non-envious. So now in your questions, what you have marked true and false, the first question was, I wonder how people are so corrupt still flourish. Are you putting that screen on the YouTube also? Is there? Okay, so the first one was that, no, the screen should be on the photograph, not on the text. So the first one is, I wonder how people who are so corrupt still flourish. So what is happening if I have this mindset? What is happening within me? I'm actually comparing myself with others, and I am justifying that I am good and others are not. So basically, it is a reflection of a feeling of discontentment, or I am feeling resentful. I am comparing myself with others. I'm comparing my possession with others' possession, or my quality with others' quality. And
My
that
moral
way,
values, others' morals value.
yeah.
That's how we say that, that is correct and I am great.
And I desire to have what the other person is having. So that is how I ended up becoming envious or dveshta. So, but the devotee of the Lord is adveshta, non-envious.
And so this quality is like sometimes the father scolds the son, but the father does not scold the son out of any envy. He scolds the son out of the concern for the child, to correct the child and to bring the child back to, what is the proper value or conduct or behavior. So ideally, one should not be jealous of others. We get jealous of others' social position. We get jealous of other nations. There's so much of conflicts between the nation. I think Finland is saying it will join NATO, and Russia is saying, if you join NATO, you'll have to pay price for it. So there is enviousness and jealousy between nations, between religions, and that is so much acute now world over. We see that certain religions, they are in such competition to reign and convert, and that's how. So they have so much of zeal in that, and so that is okay, trying to bring somebody closer to God, but by telling that the other religion and Sanatan Dharma is like this, so that is that is so much jealousy which is there in that.
Actually, you're talking about big things like religion and nation. What spreads like a pandemic, what I have observed, is comparing my child to others. And imagine the mindset of the child. Like, I have been counseling so many such children who are deeply affected and hurt and harmed because the parents' constant comparison, the nature to compare and putting the own child down. Like, you get compared with all your cousins who are of your age, and you get compared to your classmates and neighbors. So, envious mentality. The second quality here is Sarva Bhuta Nam Maitrah Karuna, which means friendly and kind towards all living entities. So a devotee of the Lord is friendly and kind to all living entities, including animals. including any other species of life. So here the second question was, I know some kind and helpful people who are also non-vegetarian. Now, how a person can be classified as kind if he is eating meat to satisfy his tongue? So that is not the quality of a devotee. So Sarva Bhutanam Maitraha Karuna. The third point is Sama Dukkha Sukha, equal in distress and happiness. So if I get something, I am okay, I accept it as arrangement of the Lord. If I don't get something, if I lose something, still I accept it as higher arrangement and I am sama, I am equal. So here the third point, if we see, it's such a great feeling when I achieve my goals. So now what is happening is, if I am achieving my goal, I am very happy, and that also means that when I miss my goal, I feel miserable. So both these situations, so I am reacting to the external situation. But the devotee of the Lord, he understands that whatever is happening in his life is arranged by the Supreme Lord, and it is a result of his own karmic reaction. So he accepts it very humbly. So that is how the devotee's mindset is.
And also we can look at these qualities of Adveshta and Sarva Bhutanam Maitri in a way that the other person may consider me as his enemy. So the other person thinks I am his enemy, but the pure devotee of the Lord never considers even his enemy as his enemy. So this is a very wonderful quality of a pure devotee of the Lord. And so if he receives the adverse reactions, even violence from others, he understands that I deserve actually much more. For all that we have done in the past, for all that I have done in the past, I deserve much more. But Lord is just give me some superficial reactions to my past misdeeds. So that is how he remains adveshta of anyone. He remains completely non-envious, and he's friendly even towards his enemy. He has a friendly disposition. That is the nature of an exalted Ananya Bhakta, or a pure devotee of the Lord. And Sama Dukkha Sukha. So in that, he is equal in distress or misery, so or happiness. So the point is that if he considers even his enemy, he does not consider his enemy as an enemy. So of course there may be some adverse reactions from that person, but actually devotee's goal is not to tackle that fellow. Devotee's goal is to perform devotional service irrespective of where he is, in what situation of life he is in, whether he's in the heavenly planet where there is so much of physical enjoyment, or he's in hellish planets where there is so much of trauma, or there is so much of physical and mental agony and pain inflicted by others. So this devotee's focus does not deviate or shift from devotional service, and therefore he is able to remain sama, dukkha, sukha.
The next quality is nirmamaha, or with no sense of proprietorship. So he does not think that this is this belongs to me, and this does not belong to the other person. So they are not very attached, because they understand that they are not the body. All the possessions, what we see, they actually are are in context with the body. So it actually belongs to my body, but I am not a body. So that is clear to them, and that is why they do not have any sense of proprietorship. So here we see the question number 4. My children must follow the value system which I believe in. It's for their good. So now, yes, that is true, but then simultaneously it indicates the strong feeling of me and my. So my child. So like even in among devotees, we find that when we talk about preaching, they are so focused in making their family a devotee, in making their child a devotee, and in the whole thing, in the whole
Their
effort,
wife and husband is a devotee, and there is so much of
struggle.
quarrel
There is
also.
so much of struggle, there is so much of quarrel, and in the whole thing, there are so many others who are favorably inclined and who want to become devotee, but they don't reach out to them because they get so busy in their own family. So the problem here is the sense of proprietorship, that my son or my daughter must act how I want them to be.
So this word nirmama means, mama means mine, nirmama means not mine. So that is how he considers everything. He considers this body, no. Yeah, it is given to me, but it belongs to the Lord. It is composed of Maya Shakti of the Lord. I am a spirit soul. I am also actually servant of the Lord. So he understands that. He understands that he does not have possessiveness over his children and his wife. He understands that actually all living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So it is like a father who has children and he brings some toys for those children and he gives them to play, but then he says, don't fight among yourself. So actually the toy does not belong to the child. The toy belongs to the father. So similarly, we understand that all the facilities and every asset and everything given to me by is from the Supreme Lord. It is not mine. It is given to be my Supreme Father. So I should play with what I have been allocated, the toy that have been allocated me, and I should not fight with others, for what they have. And we'll see that this devotee is so exalted that even if his toy is taken away by someone, he does not really, become so upset and morose. He understands that that is also an arrangement of the Lord. He accepts that.
Then moving to the next quality, it is nir ahankara, or without false ego. So again, when we talk about the ego comes from the body. And that is why the false ego is, I am this body. My true ego or my true identity is, I am the servant of the Supreme Lord. But when I forget it and when I get covered by this body, and then I get shackled by the modes and I start believing that I am this body. So there are so many things, so many decisions which we make from that perspective. But actually the devotee knows that I am not the body. So here we see point number 5. I am proud to be an Indian. So many of us, yes, we are proud to be Indian. But then who am I? Am I Indian? So the body is Indian. The body has taken birth in India, but I am eternal. So how can I be labeled as Indian or American or whatever? Because I am eternal. So I don't take birth. So if I don't take birth, I don't take birth on one land and not on the other land. So again, so that is how it arises from the bodily conception.
So if we have these two qualities, nirmama, that I am free from possessiveness, and nirahankara, if I do not think that I am this body, but I understand that I am a servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Lord. So if I am free from this ahankar and I'm free from possessiveness, then you will notice that this beautiful ability will come in us, that we will not hate anyone. Somehow, each one of us is infested with this. We may be very nice to most of the people, but there is some person, either in the family or in the relatives or in the community or in the nation, some politician, somebody will be there whom we have some hatred for that person. Or maybe in scriptures, people are there, they hold sometimes Supreme Lord himself as guilty for certain things. So if we work on these qualities from a spiritual point of view, then we'll see that our heart becomes free of this hatred.
The next quality is kshami, or forgiving. So I must forgive others. So yes, okay, even if somebody makes some mistake, yet I should have a bigger heart and I should understand that whatever is happening to me is my karmic reaction. This person is just an instrument who's bringing me that reaction, but he is not the one who is causing me damage. Who's actually causing me damage is my own previous actions, which I do not remember. So accepting things in that spirit, and then we become actually kshami, or forgiving. So here in the questions, we see that the next question was 6th question. When I commit a mistake, I get very upset with myself. So now when I'm very upset with myself, so what is happening is I'm not forgiving myself. So not only I have to forgive others, I have to forgive myself also, because Krishna loves me. Because Krishna forgives me. Because Krishna said in 9th chapter, Apichetsu Duracharo, that no matter how abominable act my devotee performs, he's still my devotee. So we must forgive ourselves. Of course, we need to learn. Of course, we need to improve. But that does not mean that we become so critical of ourselves that we get self-doubt and we do not progress.
And therefore, in Krishna consciousness, Bhagavad Gita, Vedic scriptures, we understand that there is no eternal damnation. There is no such thing as eternally damned. They have this concept in other systems of religion, because there is always possibility of reformation. And in case of devotees, we always have the protection and shelter of the devotee, of the Supreme Lord, as Sukiti was saying, that if one continues to engage in devotional service, I did some big mistake and I'm feel very guilty and upset about it. That's okay, but then I do not give up my devotional activities. I continue to chant, I continue to hear from devotees, I continue to study scriptures, I continue to engage in devotional service. Krishna says, okay, despite this fellow has done something really bad, I excuse him. He still should be considered as a sadhu. Why? Because this fellow is repenting. This fellow is not engaged, he's not giving up devotional service, bhakti, which means very quickly he'll come out of it. And he will shine as as a pure soul, he will shine in due course of time. So it is very natural. We all are imperfect. Who does not have imperfections? We look at imperfections, that we ourselves are so many different types of imperfections are there. So we understand that that's how it is in this material world. So it is easy to forgive. It should become easy to forgive us and forgive others. In fact, if we look at the Lord, there's no one as forgiving as the Lord. Birth after birth after birth after birth, we have continued to offend the Lord. Sometimes deny his existence, sometimes call his names, and yet Lord has forgiven us. And that's how we have come to this state, that we have come to accept him and his teachings.
The next is Santushtah, which means that the devotee of the Lord is completely satisfied. So whatever he is provided with, whatever comes by Lord's grace, he does not over endeavor to achieve something. So he is not dissatisfied with the condition of life. So here we see the seventh one, good or bad, everything that happens to me is the perfect arrangement of the Lord. So if I believe in that, not only during the good times, but when the worst things happen to us, when we have so much of pain in our life, like if there is, let's say if somebody loses a job or loses a loved one or whatever happens, if I have that faith, so then I am satisfied because I have faith that my Lord will provide me the best thing. And then the next is Satatam Yogi, or always engaged in devotion. So the devotee of the Lord is always engaged in devotional activities.
So this refers to the question, giving up tea and coffee is a huge...
That is the next one, I think.
Okay. Okay, so Satatam Yogi, yes, he is always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So one good thing is that we complete our rounds every day, and whenever we catch ourselves free, when we are not doing any other devotional activity, then we continue to chant. Satatam Yogi. We have to use every moment of this human energy. As we were discussing the other day, we have this human form. This human form is very, very rare. Now, part of this human form, human energy is already spent. Like a battery. Like we have this battery here, this battery. So this is a single charge battery. We can use it. And after we have used for some time, maybe 50-60% of the battery is discharged. So that already human energy is gone away from us. Balance is left. So in that we have to see that how do we become Satatam Yogi, how we can always think of Krishna, how we remove things in our life which distract us from Krishna.
The next quality is Yat Atma, or self-controlled. So this person is actually self-controlled. He has complete control over his senses. When we talk about self-control, he has control over his senses. So here is the next point, that giving up tea and coffee is a huge struggle for me. So if it's a huge struggle for me, which means to the degree I'm attached to the tea, to that degree I'm not surrendering to Krishna. I don't have control over my senses. My senses are running in all directions like the horses. So we need to control that.
So that is what Satatam Yoga, when I was thinking that way, that if I'm struggling with things which are not approved,
Yes.
while doing that, I am not engaging in Krishna service. I am engaging in my own enjoyment. Then next is Drad Nishchay with determination. So this is very important, that he understands that I have nothing else to do in my human life. I have enjoyed all kinds of sense enjoyment in previous lifetimes. This is very interesting. Scriptures explain, we may not have this knowledge, but scriptures explain that whatever we're trying to enjoy now, that taste with the tongue, the enjoyment of the genitals, sex pleasure, enjoyment of sound or whatever. So there are different enjoyment which are available to the senses. The scriptures explain that these we have already enjoyed in previous lifetimes in different species. For that we do not need this human form. This human form is specifically meant for developing our Krishna consciousness. So that's why this person becomes Drid Nishchay, that I should not do anything else except surrender to Krishna. Then, and that is the perfection of my life. So that is how determined he becomes.
So the 9th one, from the day I took Sankalpa to chant, I have not missed even a single day. And how many? 37% of us have mentioned yes. And the balance 63%, we have to make that Dridha Nishchay. We have to become determined. See, chanting one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra takes maximum 10 minutes. Can we not spare out 10 minutes for Krishna? What can stop us? So that Nishchay or that Dridhata is required. So the day we will be convinced of this process, that day, the time, we will make out time somehow.
Sometimes scriptures inspire us with positives, sometimes they inspire us with negatives. So it is not that we are doing all this and we are already in a very highly elevated situation and we'll be liberated this time. So Krishna has explained these qualities. How much of these qualities do we already have? How much time do we have? Can we become perfect in this life? Yes, we can, but unless we act on it. So we must use every moment of our life. Otherwise, we are looking to entering into another womb after we leave this body.
And the last one is Mai Arpita Mano Buddhir, mind and intelligence fixed upon Krishna. So this is the quality of Ananya Bhak, that mind and intelligence completely fixed on Krishna. And if a person has all these qualities, then Yo Mad Bhaktah Same Priyaha. Such a person, such a devotee becomes dear to Krishna. So if we see the last one, the 10th one, while chanting, I think of Krishna only, no other thoughts occur. So that is actually, that shows that how my mind and intelligence is completely absorbed, completely soaked in Krishna. So we dealt in great detail explaining you all these qualities so that it does not remain just a quality, but we know the practical application in our day-to-day life also, as how do we apply. And here is the first lesson. This person is acting as my enemy due to my own past misdeeds. So it is better to suffer than to protest. This is how one gets free from the karmic bondage. So when the time of reaction comes, when we face a reaction, it's a difficult, perplexing situation. And we start blaming the other person. But we need to understand that this person is actually the manifestation of my own misdeeds.
Good or bad, whatever happens to me is the perfect arrangement of the Lord for my own progress. So actually, like we have jails and we have reformatory programs of the government for the people who break laws of land. Similarly, Krishna has made law of karma. So we do activities, exactly according to those activities we get reactions. And that is how whatever good or bad is happening to us is a perfect arrangement. There is no calculation error in the supercomputer of the Lord.
Yasmano dvijate loko, lokano dvijate chayaha, harsham rashabhayodvegair, mukto yah sajame priyaha.
He by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone and who is equipoised in happiness and distress, free in anxiety. It's very dear to me. So here 3 qualities are mentioned, and it's mentioned that this person is not revengeful. No, by whom no one is put into difficulty. It is not that this person has done something to me, so I start thinking and planning that how I need to put him into trouble. He needs to understand what he has put me through. So unless I do the same thing to him, he will not understand. So let me plan some revenge. So this person, devotee, Ananya devotee, is not revengeful. He does not take revenge. He does not put anyone into difficulty, not even his enemy, and he's not disturbed by anyone. So neither he puts somebody in anxiety, nor he gets into anxiety because of other person. So he, either ways, he is very, very peaceful and well situated, and he's equipoised in happiness and distress. So this devotee is like an ocean. So many rivers are coming, so much rain is falling from the sky, yet the ocean remains as it is. And he is equipoised, when there is happiness, material distress, material fear, material anxiety, he remains equipoised. Like the ocean never breaches the shore. So we can always remember this example of the ocean and understand the qualities of this great devotee. So this devotee never causes distress to others. He is not affected by others as well, and he is equipoised. So here's this example, or the example of Haridas Thakur is given. So Haridas Thakur was he was outside the village or outside the city limits, and he was chanting. He would chant 300,000 names of the Lord. And there was one zamindar who became very envious of him, and he sent a prostitute. And this prostitute came, and in a very attractive way, he told Haridas Thakur that please, you should fulfill my desire, that you should, enjoy along with me. So Haridas Thakur said, okay, I fulfill your desire, but I have got so many rounds pending. Let me complete my rounds and then I'll fulfill your desire. And then Haridas Thakur chanted the whole day, the whole night. And when the night was coming to end, so this prostitute was all the time sitting and listening to the holy names from Haridas Thakur. So she said, okay, anyway, the day has come. I will go and come back again, and you have to fulfill my desire. So she comes back in the evening, and then again Haridas Thakur says, definitely today I will fulfill your desires, but I have got my rounds to do. So he was chanting and she was listening, and the third day she actually understood. She became so much purified listening to the pure holy names coming from the lotus mouth of Haridas Thakur, that her heart transformed. She gave up her sinful activities and habits, and she became a very exalted Vaishnavi, and she took up the chanting of the holy name.
So here is a life lesson. Neither he gets disturbed nor he disturbs others, as the devotee is always engrossed in thoughts of Krishna. So the devotee of the Lord is always absorbed in Krishna, and that is why he doesn't disturb others or gets disturbed by others. Anapekshah shuchir daksha udasino gata avyatha sarvarambha parityagi yo mad bhaktah same priyaha. My devotee, who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. So Krishna, again here he is talking about 6 additional qualities which makes a person dear to Krishna. So such a person is actually detached from everything which we can perceive as worldly affair. So anapekshaha, or neutral. So he does not depend on ordinary course of activities. That is what Prabhupada translates it. So it actually means that he does not have no expectation from anyone or from any material work. So whatever he does, money may come as a result, but then he does not depend really on that money. So automatically,
he's dependent on Krishna.
Yeah, he depends on Krishna.
He does not depend that I am doing this job, so that's how I will survive. I because I'm pleasing my boss. My boss will give me enough money and then I will survive. He does not think like that. He's just dependent on the Lord for his maintenance.
So he performs his duties and he depends on Krishna for maintenance. The second is Shuchihi or pure. So he external purity and internal purity. External purity by by taking bath and by maintaining our environment and our body clean, and internal purity by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
So next is Daksha, or he's expert, fully knows the essence of all activities of life. So this is very amazing. See, this person, he is aware of all the principles on which the material world runs, the spiritual principles. He is aware of all the tattvas, his own position as a spirit, soul, supreme lord. So what happens is, in every situation, he is able to take the right decision. He is able to act very expertly in all situations. So because he is well situated in his knowledge, and he fully knows the essence of all activities of life, and he is udasin, he is without cares, he does not take sides. So this is another thing, that if there is a material conflict between two people, we tend to analyze. We may feel that this person is right and that person is wrong, but we at the end of the day understand that it's actually a conflict of the modes. Somebody is in mode of goodness, somebody is in mode of passion or ignorance, and therefore there is a clash between them, like we have the clash between the devatas and the rakshasas. It is been going on since the time the creation happened. So this person does not really take part, because he understands, he is detached from all materialistic people and from their conflict. So he lives without care, and he does not really take side.
The next is Gata Vyathaha or pain free. So because he is free from all bodily designation, he completely firmly believes and knows that he is not the body. So that is how he is pain free, because pain or pleasure, whatever is happening, is actually external. It is happening to the body, not to me, because I am part and parcel of Krishna. So that understanding, and that is how he is pain free. Sarva Rambha Parityagi, or free from all endeavors. So he is doing whatever is basic requirement from him to maintain his body and soul together, so that he can engage himself in Krishna's service. But apart from that, he does not become attached to any action and the result of that action. And that is how he is Sarvarambha Parityagi. He is detached. So a devotee becomes expert, pure, carefree, free from pains and perfect causes by following, perfect because by following Krishna, who is expert, pure, carefree, free from pains and perfect.
The master is perfect, and so is the follower.
Yo na rishyati na dveshti, na shochati na kankshati, shubha shubha parityagi, bhaktiman yah same priyaha.
One who neither rejoices nor grieves, who neither laments nor desires, and who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things. Such a devotee is very dear to me. So here again Krishna is saying that who neither rejoices nor grieves. So that means that he when he receives something which is very nice for his senses, he doesn't become very happy, because he understands this is temporary, and anyway I'm not this body. And when something which he likes and which he is attached to, if it goes away, he does not grieve. Right, so that is na harshati, na dveshti, na shochati, na kankshati. So neither does he lament. When do we lament? We lament if we do not have something which I should have. So he may lament, no, I don't have this, I don't have a good wife, I don't have children, I don't have a good job. So like this, we may have hundreds of reasons for lamentation. Neither he has material desires, na kankshati. Shubha, shubha parityagi. Shubha, ashubha parityagi. So in this material world, there may be things and moments and objects which we consider auspicious, something which we consider inauspicious. But this devotee understands that actually auspicious, in material world, everything is inauspicious. This is what he understands. Because everything is contaminated with moods. Everything is composed of satogun, rajogun, tamogun. And therefore, everything is binding on the spirit soul. So for him, shubha or ashubha of this material world is not really of much value.
My happiness is in pleasing Krishna. I only desire his service, and the only auspicious thing in this material world is Krishna consciousness. That is the attitude of a devotee, that how can I please Krishna? So here we see the beautiful picture of Nrsingadev and Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj had to go through so much of atrocities by his father, by his demoniac father Hiranyakashipu. He left no efforts to kill actually baby Prahlad, and yet Prahlad was so fixed in remembering Krishna and serving Krishna. So constantly he was meditating on Krishna and he was preaching about Krishna to everyone else.
So this is one thing which you can actually could have taken a screenshot of. What should be our attitude?
Samashatrau cha mitre cha tatha manapamanayoho शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखेषु समः संगा विवर्जितः तुल्य निन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी संतुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतः स्थिरमतिर् भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः. One who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and infamy, and who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who's fixed in knowledge, and who's engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. So Krishna is again talking about 8 more qualities, and he's telling that how a person becomes dear to Krishna. So if we can see all these 8 qualities, actually some may look a little repetitive, that it is already covered and it's coming again. Like equipoised is mentioned here, and then we have already read that this person is a sama or equal in other things. So these are from various angles. Krishna is trying to highlight and make sure that we understand the essence as what makes a person dear to Krishna.
So Samas Shatru cha Mitre cha. So we saw earlier also that how he is equal. He is adveshti. He does not envy anyone. So here he sees that somebody may consider him as friend, or somebody may consider him as enemy, but he is actually equal to both his friends and enemy, because he sees beyond their bodies. He sees beyond their mental attitude which they have for them. So somebody may have a friendly attitude towards me, somebody may have an inimical attitude towards me, but beyond that, each one of them is a pure spirit soul.
Sama or equipoised in dualities. So the life offers various dualities. Sometimes it is heat, sometimes it is cold. Sometimes we get honor, sometimes we get dishonor. Sometimes we get praise, sometimes we get criticized. So different things keep happening. That is known as dualities of life, this extreme to that extreme. And such a person is actually sama or same in all such different categories of situation, because he can see Krishna's hands everywhere.
Sangha Vivarjitaha, he is free from bad association, because otherwise he will get contaminated. So pandemic corona time was very good to understand. That was a physical virus which will affect. And similarly, if a person is infected in the mind, if he has he has a infection mind with infectious bad qualities, it will affect us. So we should avoid that.
Mauni, or speak only of essentials. He speaks no nonsense. If there is a discussion going on about Krishna, then he is very enthusiastic and he shares so much. And if it is something which is like mundane material stuff, he completely goes in his shell. So he speaks only of essential things.
Santushto is happy in all situations. He understands that he, for example, is in a transit station. So either we are going from one place to another, we have to transit in Nagpur. So you understand Nagpur is not where I have to spend my whole life. So whether there is something is available to eat or not available to eat, I just manage myself. Sometime I'm here and then I have to go to my destination. So similarly, the devotees in this material, we understand that, my original life is meant for serving the Lord. Here, being in the material world, there would always be something less, something more. I should be happy and satisfied, content in all situations.
Then next is aniketaha, or does not desire any residence. So we may find people who already have a house and they are planning for a bigger house, who have a bigger house and they are planning for a bungalow, who have a bungalow and they are planning for a penthouse. So like desire keep increasing and they are busy working in that direction. But such a person does not really care for any residence, or that residence also includes any other possessions. He does not really care about any material mundane possession.
Sthir matir, fixed in determination and knowledge. So he regularly associates with scriptures and hears from devotees from scriptures. So therefore he becomes fixed in his determination, he becomes fixed in his knowledge, and he does not become bewildered by the opinion of normal mundane people.
And bhakti man, or engaged in devotion. So such a person with such amazing qualities, if he is engaged in devotion constantly, then as we can see in the picture, so there is Srila Raghunath Das Goswami sitting and Srimati Radharani, because he's sitting in the hot scorching sun. So Srimati Radharani herself has personally come to put a shade on his head so that he doesn't feel so much of heat. So what happens is, such a person becomes so very dear to Krishna, he attracts the attention of Krishna.
We should not think what God can do for us. Rather, we should think and meditate on what we can do for God. So we come to the last verse of this chapter. We are sorry that we had to extend the time.
Ye tu dharmamritam idam yathoktam paryupasate Shraddhadhana mat parama bhaktastetiva me priyaha. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. If we read the last line, it says, Bhakta te ativa me priyaha. They are very, very dear to me. So from 13 to 19, he was describing the devotees who are very dear to him. And here Krishna is in ecstasy. He's not able to control. He's saying that a devotee who just follows the path of devotional service, completely absorbed and engaged in my service with faith, and for who the ultimate goal is to attain me. So he does not have goals in terms of other things in his life, but his one and only goal is Krishna. Such a person is very, very dear to Krishna. So dearest of all is one who makes Krishna as his life's goal. So if we live our life like that, can you imagine how we would become dear to Krishna? So Krishna has revealed his heart out, that what type of devotees he like and what he feels for such a devotee. So he's describing in so much of detail to inspire us in that direction, to inspire us in the process and the path of Bhakti Yoga, so that we can also become Ananya Bhakta.
In fact, Srila Prabhupada mentions that he does not only he does not worship other Devi Devatas. In fact, he does not worship other forms of God also. He becomes just fixed on one form of Lord Krishna.
So with this, we come to an end of this chapter, chapter number 12. So there are a couple of announcements. The quiz for chapter 12 has been uploaded, and there is an open book assessment also. So if you will log in to studygita.com website and you would log in through your registered credentials, then you can come on that page where you are supposed to complete the quiz. Also, these 3 chapters are very important, especially the 12th chapter, though it is straightforward and short, yet it is very, very important chapter. So we request you to go through it in detail. Do solve the OBA, and next week we are giving you a break, so that in case if you have missed a couple of sessions here and there for trimester 4, so kindly complete those sessions. You can watch the recording at the website again. So check the recordings, do the quizzes, complete the open book assignment, and we will see you next week. Also, tomorrow is Nrsimha Chaturdashi, the appearance day of Nrsimha Dev. So there is a class in the morning at 8 a.m. on our Study Gita channel. Request you to join that session, 8 a.m. on Nrsimha Chaturdashi. Also in the evening, we have programs starting from 5:30 p.m. The Abhishek would be there, Kirtan, class and Prasad in our ISKCON temple here at Chennai. So we invite you to the temple. We We are very happy inviting you because after many months, or rather 2 years, we are able to host a program where we are actually extending the invitation out so that you can come in person and join us for the celebration. If you are not in Chennai, you can visit your local ISKCON centers wherever you are.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And in this way, we have completed 2/3 of Bhagavad Gita. So we are here for some more time in case if any one of you want to share anything, any questions, we would be happy to take it. Just give us a moment.
So I hope we are audible, and of course we are visible. Okay, so we have Hema Malini, Kapil Anand, Dinkar, Shir Sagar, and Bhaven. We have 4 hands. Yes, Hema Malini, I'm requesting you to unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Mataji, this program which is hosted, no, actually I don't know if I remember my password because I missed some sessions in between. So I wanted if you can reset the password and share it for attending the quizzes, Mr. Krishna.
You do one thing, you send an email from your registered email ID to info@studygita.com and our team will help you out in fixing the password. Is that okay?
Okay, sure, Mataji.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
also
I'll send
drop a message at the WhatsApp.
It's true. Info@studygita.com.
Okay, sure. I'll check it. And today the attendance link also I didn't get, Mataji.
Yes, we just posted in the chat.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Okay, so next we have Kapil Anand. Yes, Kapil.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. How are you?
Hare Krishna.
Sir, actually, my question is pertaining to Srimad Bhagavatam. And there was one, actually, there are many sentences which are being repeated again and again. And one is that, that women have been seen.
Question from Srimad Bhagavatam probably may not be very relevant in this audience. So how about if you send your question to
Mataji, it's a very simple question that,
Okay.
The mention of women has been, seen as a less intelligent class along with Sudras.
It's
So
not
why
a
it has-
simple question. Please don't complete your question. It's not a simple question. It would require a lot of explanation.
Okay. Then the one beautiful thing which I read in that is that that mind and intelligence fixed in India, fixed up to Krishna. And actually intelligence is not driven by the brain. Intelligence is driven by the consciousness. So what they say is actually mind and intelligence fixed on Krishna is mind and consciousness fixed on Krishna. So this is what actually I learned yesterday in one of this sessions. And there was one more thing that I learned was that, there was what you were actually mentioning about the hospitals and the relevance of the temples. While the hospitals treat bodies and the temples treat man, that is mind. So temples are the hospitals for the mind. What I read actually about this. So this was mandir, they say, that treats the man, that treats the mind. And while the hospitals are there for the body only. And
Where did you
we are
read
not
this? Mandir definition.
Actually, I have gone through one YouTube link that I was going through, that Krishna Katha, which I actually listen at least 2 hours in a day, apart from 2 hours chanting in the morning. In the evening time, I dedicate my 1 hour or 2 hours, whatsoever available to me, that Krishna Katha I listen. And there they mentioned this thing.
It says
And
what channel?
it was Amrinder Das, YouTube link that he spoke. That is ISKCON Columbus. ISKCON
Yeah,
Columbus. Yes. That
okay.
I heard. Yes. And that was one thing. And there was one more aspect which I am forgetting. I had in my mind. Maybe later I will just discuss whenever I have. That will come to my mind. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
You can send your question on email if you have any other question relevant to Bhagavatam. You
Okay.
can always write to us, because here the others may not really be on the same page. So that is why I'm saying like that.
It's okay. It's perfectly fine, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Dinkarji, I'm requesting to unmute yourself.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Guruji, I sent an email to you. Not getting joining that what you call the worship of the thing. So will you please help me out?
Can you switch off your video and just speak on the audio,
I
because your voice is breaking?
So we are not able to hear you. We are unable to hear you.
You switch off your video.
Can you try speaking now?
What I heard is that you have sent an email. I just look into the email and respond.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. Dhanyavad. Namaste. Namaste.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.